Hi, I'm Abigail Turner.
And I'm Ashley Branson.
And welcome to Prairie Hearts.
We'll be taking a look at some of the great stories about people in and around the Westman area.
And you might be surprised.
That's right. Brandon might be known as the wheat city because of its farming culture.
But that doesn't mean we also don't have a thriving art scene.
Today we've got art that's for your ears and art that's in your skin.
That sounds painful.
Not a tattoo fan?
More like not a fan of pain.
Well, maybe this first feature will change your mind. We're going to check out a local tattoo parlor, and you may think that tattoos were just for bikers, sailors, and thugs, but now almost anybody is getting inked.
First tattoo I ever did was on myself. I'm of the opinion the reason we have legs is so you can practice your tattoo skills. But yeah, no, the first one I ever did on an actual client was a little star with some tribal-y stuff coming off of it. And the amount of, like, it's so nerve-wracking the first time you ever, like, you're sitting there, like, getting ready, okay, you know, just for, but yeah, it's a really hard thing to actually, like, commit to. You gotta believe in yourself.
Mickey Westlack has been a tattoo artist for over 13 years. Mickey wasn't a model student while attending school, but his creativity and passion for art have made him one of the most popular tattoo artists in Brandon.
When I was a kid, I mean, we all do stupid things. And I did graffiti, so I kind of, you know, did that. And I guess it just seemed like a natural evolution of doing some kind of artwork that was, you know, edgy and cool or whatever, but now I don't have to, like, look behind my back and worry about getting in trouble for just doing my artwork. So doing something where, like, you're kind of like, it was edgy, you know, like it was something, it was interesting, and most of real life was just kind of like boring. I was just kind of was into drawing and doing artwork instead of whatever I was supposed to be doing. It just kind of seemed like a natural thing.
In his 13 years as a tattoo artist, he has seen a shift in the industry from technology, trends, and styles.
Every couple of years it kind of sort of sheds its skin of what used to be cool. Like back in the 90s everyone was getting barbed wire and band logos, now nobody gets those. Like, it just seems like every, I don't know, few months, maybe a couple times a year, it changes the popular tattoos. It's always evolving.
In recent years, his opportunities have opened up as people have come to accept tattoos as a normal thing, and stereotypes have started to fade.
Everybody gets tattoos now, whereas back in the day it was just like sailors and thugs or people coming back from wars or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot more acceptable. Just the other day I tattooed a guy who must be like in his 70s, and it's so much more acceptable now, so everybody can get tattoos, whereas back in the day it was, hey, that guy has a tattoo, stay away from him, you know? But
in the past decade, tattoo ink has been improving in quality, and some parlors now offer ink that is only visible under UV light and others that glow in the dark. But despite the ink improving, many artists still prefer older methods when it comes to tattoo guns.
For the most part, everyone still uses essentially the same machine they first built, that old Huck Spalding. But like there's been new types. Like it used to always be the traditional coil machines. Now we've got rotaries, you've got hydraulic stuff. Like they're always trying new things. But for the most part, everyone just sticks with the same old coil machines. Basically, the coil machine works by having two electromagnets and an armature bar that when you put some electric current to it, it basically brings the armature bar down. And then when it comes down, it breaks the circuit and goes back up. So that sound that you're hitting is just, and then the rotaries, it's kind of like the same as a sewing machine with like an oblong wheel, and they're always trying new things. And I don't even know how that hydraulic stuff works. I've never bothered to try.
No matter what ink and equipment comes and goes in the industry, the most important thing when it comes to tattoos is what it means to the person who is getting it.
Your reasons are your own. If you're worried about what everyone else is going to think, maybe you shouldn't get it. But no, yeah, everyone has a different reason. One of the things that's frustrating about a small, generally conservative town like Brandon is a lot of people think that somebody has to die before you get a tattoo. But no, just get whatever you want. And if it looks good, it looks good. If we think it's a really bad idea, we'll try to talk you out of it, but for the most part, your idea is your idea, so.
But even Mickey admits, not every tattoo is remembered as fondly as others.
Yeah, I got a small tattoo of an M16 on my ankle. I had to get it small so I could hide it from my mom at the time that I got it. And about a month later, I was at a tattoo convention in Calgary, and I saw this delicate little girl. Well, I mean, she must have been 18, but just this small, petite little girl, and she was getting an AK-47 on her whole calf. So all my buddies were just giving me a hard time. Hey, tough guy, why don't you show her your tattoo? I wouldn't say I really regret it, but I wish I would have got it bigger.
Hey, did you know tattoos date back to almost 12,000 BCE?
Actually, I didn't.
Yeah, they used to be made out of charcoal.
That's so cool. You learn something new every day, right?
Yep. Well, art doesn't just have to be seen. You can hear it too.
A young group of guys are trying to make it big in the Canadian music scene. But is their future in trouble? Let's find out.
All the stands in this room. All the stands? Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Did you get it?
No, because my glasses fell off.
How'd that happen?
I drink too much. I think I drink too much.
I was friends with all these guys. I think, probably socially the common link between everybody. I went to school with Nick, the drummer. We went to middle school together, so I'd known him for years. Ben, our lead guitarist and vocalist, Ben and I lived on the same street growing up until we were about 5, and then Ben moved.
He lived down the street from me earlier, so we used to hang out and play Bionicles together.
Brennan and I had concert band class together in high school, so I knew all those guys musically, and one evening, kind of out of the blue, Ben texted me a picture of his electric guitar and said, "Hey man, we should jam," and I was like, "Yeah, I know a drummer and a bass player. Let's get together and do it." And that's pretty much how we got together as a band. So right now, I would call it a bit of a indefinite, maybe an undefined hiatus. What happened was we played together throughout high school, grades 9 to 12. We were a band, and everything that we did in that time, the songwriting and the recording and all the performances we did were just sort of linked to that time in our lives. And then last summer, we all graduated.
Kieran and I are at BU doing music. Nick is working, like taking a year off and playing music. He's possibly on tour with a few different people. And then our bass player, Bryn, is in Winnipeg taking music as well.
We don't see each other very often. I still see Ben and Kieran lots, but yeah, we're just kind of taking a break, doing our own sort of things.
It's entirely possible, in my opinion, that a couple years down the road we could officially reconnect and write some new songs together and maybe do another record. But it'll be interesting to see whether we call that the 204 or whether it'll be something different entirely.
Talk about all the things I'm doing wrong.
These guys are my best friends for sure. That probably happened just as a bit of It's like you spend hundreds of hours in this tiny little room together, just making music. So maybe, like, who knows if it would have happened otherwise, but our dynamic is very much that of best friends.
I think it's at least for me, to be passionate about a project. It's really important that you're in it with guys that you like, and guys that you can spend, you know, 20 hours in a weekend with, guys that you can drive across Canada in a van with, and you know, not want to absolutely kill by the time you're done. So, I mean, we're all really good friends, and we joke around all the time, and I love that. I think that's a really big part of why we all enjoy it.
Don't talk about all the things I'm doing wrong. All the things I'm doing wrong.
Producer of this piece, Riley Bruce, joins me. Riley, where do the guys see themselves in the next few years?
Well, since filming this piece, actually, they decided to book more gigs and really promote themselves a lot more.
That's great. We can't wait to see what happens. Back to you, Ashley.
Thanks, Abigail. That wraps up this episode of Prairie Hearts. You can find behind-the-scene clips on our website or check out our Twitter page at Prairie Hearts. See you next time.